It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to the Jill on Money Show and happy Independence Day weekend. Given the nature of this program, I'd like to call it Happy Financial Independence Day weekend. And we are a show that is focused on you, how you can take control of your money, your overall finances. And so if you've got a question, all you need to do is get in touch with us. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note. And if you would like to join us on the air live, which is such a fun experience for everybody, just check the box and executive producer Mark, who is the best executive producer in the whole wide world, he'll do everything else. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter, which is basically now our Substack. So if you're on Substack, just subscribe to us at Jill on Money. Otherwise, just go to the website, jillonmoney.com, and you can see a link and we'll get you all signed up. So easy. As I said, this show is about you, about your needs. So let's turn and talk about you. We're going to Marie, who joins us from Connecticut, also known as the Nutmeg State. Marie, I apologize to you because I went to the New York Liberty game, the WNBA game, and the New York Liberty really beat up on the Connecticut Sun last weekend. So I apologize in advance if you're smarting over that, or maybe you don't care, but welcome to the program either way.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
A pleasure. So what's going on? How can we help you out?
Well, I listen to you all the time with my husband, and over the years, you've given us some great advice. I love your straightforward, clarity on helping people with their finances. And I'm hoping you can help myself and my husband with that because it's a little complicated. I need a little help seeing the forest for the trees.
All right, we can do that. We have great vision. We have night vision goggles in case it's dark out there, okay?
Okay.
So what's going on for you guys?
So we retired as of January 1st of this year. We had a business that we sold to two of our key employees. We're holding the note on that business. And we have some rental properties, and we're living off of the proceeds from all of that right now.
Okay,
and
that's great.
We worked really hard to get to this point. And now we're trying to enjoy our retirement with traveling. We have two grown adult children launched that live on the West Coast, and we'd like to spend more time with them.
First of all, how old are you guys?
My husband, he'll be 65, and
Okay.
I'll be 63 this summer.
Okay. And the note that you're holding from the sale of the business, what is that amount?
So it's a 5-year note with interest, principal and interest. The gross income from that is $92,460
a year for 5 years.
A year for
Okay.
5 years.
Okay, great. Now, does that cover a lot of your needs?
Yes.
Would you say it covers
covers
all or most of? What do you think?
It covers most of it, but I figure we need a little bit more.
Okay. So you said you have some rental properties. Tell us about those rental properties. Let's do rental property number one.
Okay. The rental property that
What's
our
it
business
worth?
was in, it's a commercial building worth about $800,000.
Is that something that you want to hold on to, or would you sell that to the folks that bought your business?
They want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
We would like them to pay off the note first.
The 5 years.
So they have a 5-year lease. So the goal is for them to buy that building, and if not, we do want to sell it.
Okay.
No matter what.
Okay. Got it. All right. And is there a mortgage on it?
No.
Okay. So that income is about how much?
So the gross income is $80,000, and we net about $48,000.
Rental property number two. What's that?
Okay, that's a vacation rental. That's worth about $1 million.
Oh, hello.
We gross about $75,000 a year, and we net a little bit on the conservative side, about $36,000. Depends what repairs and things we do with it.
But you guys use it also?
Yes, I'm
So
actually
this,
here
so
right now.
yay. Okay. So
Yeah.
so it's a rental. Yeah. But this is something, ideally, what would you want to happen to that? That like, okay, when 5 years comes around and you've got this money from the commercial building, do you want to just say, I never want to rent it again? Is this something you want to keep unencumbered? Like, what would you like to happen to that?
We're considering moving to the West Coast, or at least
Oh,
possibly buying a duplex there, sharing it with our daughter. Um, so we all love this vacation rental home. My
mm-hmm.
kids come home every year and we use it. But if we could perhaps recreate it out on the West Coast, that's
That would be
kind of on the
cool.
back burner.
Yeah,
As a
yeah, yeah.
maybe.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that. Okay. So the $1 million, is that there's no mortgage on that?
No.
Okay. And you said you had a third rental property, is that right?
Yeah, it's our primary residence. And a few years ago, we built an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and I moved into that. It's a nice apartment. And now we rent the house out.
Oh my God, you guys are totally awesome. So the house is worth, so the house with the ADU is worth how much right now?
We think about 1.2,
Okay. And again, no
depending on the
mortgage?
market. That we have a mortgage of 305,000.
305.
And that was based on one of your recommendations 5 years ago. We got the
Oh,
mortgage at 2.75%.
I was pretty
And it was
smart then. I mean, if only I had
yes.
taken my own advice. Gosh. Okay. So 2.75%. And what is the income from the primary?
So that's about 52,000,
Mm-hmm.
and we net about 36,000 on that one.
You got a lot of income. What are you doing with all
Do.
this money? Are you spending it and have, like, I mean, I know you just retired a few months back, whatever, 5 months ago, but are you living large? What's happening to all that money?
A little bit. We've been doing some traveling, a lot of pent up traveling because we were running our own business. We couldn't really
Right.
just take off.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're kind of having our gap year in our 60s, where most people have it
Mark,
after
I want a
college.
gap year. Let's get a gap year. Okay. Well, you also mentioned that you'd done some savings beyond the business itself and all these real estate properties. What about retirement assets? What do you have?
So we have IRAs
Mm-hmm.
combined. That's about 1.1 million.
Okay. That's great. And
We
did you
have
also have Roths?
we have Roths. That's about 200,000
Mm-hmm.
combined,
And
and we have HSAs.
HSAs. Do you have a brokerage account?
We have a brokerage account. We use that for our emergency savings. That's
Mm-hmm.
about 170,000.
So not invested. That's cash?
It's cash CDs, and about 45,000 of it is invested.
Okay. And how much in the HSAs?
100,000.
And your husband has Medicare. What are you doing for your health insurance?
I'm on the marketplace,
Okay.
and I have been for years. So I'll continue that right through till I go on Medicare.
Okay. We'll get back to Marie in just a second. If you've got a financial question, all you need to do is go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and write us a note. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are here answering financial and life questions. If you've got one, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Let's get back to Marie from Connecticut. All right. So now that you've had your 5 months of like revenge travel or whatever, your gap 5 months, what do you really, so we said, when I asked you that question about like, oh, is that 90,000 from the proceeds a year? Does that cover it? Do you have a better sense of really what your costs of living are? And I mean, I want you to include the fun stuff too. So like if we had to create income for you, if we were looking at everything you had, what is the amount of income that you think would satisfy your real needs going forward? Not like don't skimp, like for real.
I'd say, 150 would be the low, 150,000,
Mm-hmm.
200,000 would be nice.
So just so I understand, the money we have to think about is for the next 5 years, we don't have to really think about much because you're going to have, presuming they don't blow the business up, but they probably won't, right? Because you know them and they worked for you.
So far, so good. We've trained them for years. So yeah,
okay.
I think we're in good shape there.
So then what we know is that for 5 years, you have this 92 grand. Do either of you, when do you plan to claim Social Security?
We're thinking we're in good health. We did have a scare with my husband. He had prostate cancer, but his prognosis is good. It was caught early.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking he'll claim at 70. If all looks good, I'd probably claim at 70 or maybe at 67.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So at age 70, what would his Social Security amount be?
It's about 4,100.
Okay. And yours at 67 would be about, what do you think?
Mine is 2,800 at 67.
Okay. So that's great.
A month. So
we know that you have around $7,000 of income a month coming from Social Security eventually, but that's pretty soon, right? It's 5 years from now. So what we know is that the $92,460 a year rolls off in 5 years, right? But then you hopefully have this $800,000 influx into the brokerage account, right? So, you'll have to recapture some of it. There'll be taxes that are due, but you'll have, I don't know, let's say you have 700. Did you buy it really cheap? You probably did. It's probably going to be
we did.
You're going to have some real taxes to pay, but you have an accountant who can help you with that?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say, you get, maybe I'll be conservative. I'll say you'll have, after all taxes and everything is done, you have another 600,000 in today's dollars that you add to the brokerage account, which would mean that, again, in 5 years, your IRA, which is now worth 1.1, your Roth IRA, which is 2, your brokerage account, which is 1.7, not growing too fast, but, you'll have a bunch of money that flows into that brokerage account, which, I guess is going to get you close to $2 million, maybe more than $2 million in 5 years, right? Okay. And then we know that you'll have Social Security to come in on the back end of that. So then the question is, what are we really doing with these two other properties? What are we doing with the primary? What are we doing with the vacation? You're saying that you would think about selling the vacation. That's the one, not the primary residence. Like you're going to want to have, do you want to keep some house in the Northeast so that you guys can hang out here? Is that what the game plan is?
Yes, I think we probably would sell the primary before the vacation.
You would? Okay.
Yes.
So that's the one that has 1.2, really? But I love that 2.75. Okay, forget it. I'm going to let it go. So then you would sell the primary and you'd have some tax liability because again, you bought it a while ago and you'll be excluding $500,000 of that, whatever you paid. So you put some money into it, but it looks like to me that you would have, again, $700,000-800,000 of proceeds. But that's not money that's available for us to think about using for your retirement. That is money that you would need to purchase your California duplex, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do you think that would work? The California, would you do it, you said, with your child, your daughter, I think, right?
Yes. We were thinking if we could buy it, we'd prefer not to have a mortgage. If we could either sell the commercial property or the primary residence, buy the property it's actually in Oregon, and we could hold a note for our daughter for her portion of the duplex.
How much would it cost you?
We've been looking, and it's anywhere between $800,000 to $1 million.
But again, whatever real estate you guys have, just so I am clear, some portion of the commercial building plus your primary would go into the brokerage account and another portion would go to build out this dream of Oregon, right? And so what we're really trying to figure out, or what I'm trying to figure out in my quick math kind of way, is that I look at your today, right? You're at 65. You have 5 years from now, you have Social Security, plus you're going to still have maybe the some of that rental income from the vacation home, if you wish. I don't know if you will, but let's say you did. That'll give you your 10 grand a month out of like your need. You said 150,000, and the rest would come from your portfolio. So I think it's sort of doable. I'm going to poke some holes right now. I think 200 is too much money to spend based on your assets right now. If you told me you were not doing this California duplex, but you were just going to sell either your primary or your vacation home, and that was going to go into the kitty, you'd be okay. Because to get beyond that $7,000 a month of Social Security, we need like $6 grand a month from your portfolio, which is not impossible. It's totally doable. If I have $2 million that's in that portfolio around-ish, you should be fine. But if you're saying that, oh, yeah, we're really spending more like 15 grand a month, I don't know. That makes me a tiny bit nervous. And maybe I'm a nervous Nelly. Maybe it's fine. I want to see how things proceed. You'll have a lot more information. So is your question right now, like your core question, are we okay? Or is it, what should we think about selling?
I was thinking about doing IRA conversions.
No,
to Roth.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
No way. I need your cash.
Because we'll be adding to that cash over the next 5 years. We're really probably spending only on the lower side, depending on if we do
build up
anything
that cash. Because I'll tell you what, we'll have time. I don't want you to do a conversion. In 5 years, you're going to have a lot more information, right? To be clear.
Okay.
Are you thinking about right now doing the Oregon? Like, would you sell your primary or your vacation? Let's stay on the primary. Would you sell the primary now and do the Oregon transaction? Or are you going to wait on that?
We might sell it now. It's currently rented. Our tenant re-upped his lease until next year.
Uh-huh.
And he might go one more year. From there, I think we might decide to sell it.
Okay, let's say you sell that in a year and you get the money out. And then let's say that you need some cash to really consummate the Oregon transaction. Mm-hmm. Then you got to pull money out of your brokerage, right? Or whatever money you've built up in this next couple of years. And so I don't want to use that money to convert and pay for the conversion. See, I feel like there's too much in flux right now. We need your cash to make these. In other words, I think everything's going to be fine once you get liquid, but you're not liquid yet. If you're going to say, I'm selling my primary, we're buying Oregon, we'll move into our vacation home, whatever we have to do, we'll go back and forth, fine. But we haven't sold the rental property yet, so we don't have that cash infusion. I think that in 5 years, you're going to have a lot more information, maybe in 3 years. Maybe if everything is great and all the money is pouring in and you're like, oh my God, Jill, we're not spending 150 to 200. We're really spending 120 a year. And I overestimated that. And we can't even travel as much as we thought we were going to travel. Like if all that is happening, maybe we would do a conversion, but more likely I would just say, pull the money out of the IRAs, start to pay the taxes when your tax liability is lower. And, when you might have this interesting moment, like those years between 70 and 75, that may be where you start to do more of the pull the money out or do the conversion. Because all that money you're receiving from the note and the rental and all that stuff, it's going to change, right, in 5 years. So I think you might have a different choice in 5 years. But for now, I don't do the conversion.
Okay.
You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are here trying to help you navigate your financial journey. If you need our assistance, just go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Right now, let's talk to Matt from Ohio. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. How about yourselves?
Doing great. What can we do for you?
Well, I called to see if you guys had any advice on how to deal with my wife's upcoming partial lump sum of pension, which is a year from now.
Okay, so why is she getting a partial lump sum?
It's an option.
Oh, okay.
She could take the straight up, and then if within Ohio they give you an absolutely absurd number of options in terms of how you can take your pension over time. We'll do 100% survivorship. But then they give you this partial lump sum where you can take a portion of the total amount they gave you or you put in over time out as an IRA, a direct rollover to an IRA before you start getting monthly payments. And it reduces your monthly payment accordingly to how much you take out as a plop.
Let's talk a little bit about you guys, and then let's work backwards. Because I know sometimes I've looked at these pension options as well, and you're right. They're always like, well, we do this. We get the partial lump sum. We have 100% survivorship, 75%, 50% survivorship, 25%, then 0%. And so it's a lot. It's dizzying. Yeah. Maybe we can work backwards about who you guys are, where you are in your lives, and then we'll reverse engineer what you need to do. Okay. So first of all, Matt, how old are you?
I'll be 57 in a couple months. Are
you retired? Because you just said you had a pension?
I retired from my day job a couple years ago, but I still have to work because it's not a full pension.
Okay. What's your pension amount?
$35.80 a month for life, 100% survivorship.
Okay. And how much are you earning in your job?
It's between 60 and 90K.
That's a big range.
Yeah, it's really not something I have a whole lot of control over. It's private employment, contract work, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And another 15K from a part-time job.
So essentially this $3,600 a month pension, are you just banking that right now?
That's going to the daily stuff. I'm banking the other income.
Okay. So the pension, and your wife is how old?
She's 55.
And is she still working?
She'll work for another year, yeah.
And so we're talking about her pension. What does she earn right now?
About $110,000.
So you make whatever, $225-ish, right? Does the pensions pay most of your bills? Are you telling me that you spend $3,600 a month?
No, we spend quite a bit more than that.
How much do you spend? I like that. No, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. We spend a lot more.
We're rolling around $10,000 a month at this point.
Okay.
And we've got one adult kid that we're still supporting to some level for a bit longer.
Okay.
Hoping that ends soon.
Okay. She'll leave in a year, and then she'll have a pension amount. I know she's got lots of options, but if we were to just look at her pension amount and it was just a 100% survivor benefit, what would that amount be for her?
$61.38 a month.
And would you continue to work?
I will work as long as I can. I don't know that I'll work, 100% as I am now. Until I need my hands, my eyes, and my head. Once one of those steps go, I'm done.
I like that. Well, I mean, if she retires, it seems to me that, I know, it's not exact, but it's what I just did a rough, like $9,700 a month. So that's pre-tax. I understand, but that's pretty good. You're pretty close. Just 2 pension checks kind of reach your needs.
Yeah.
What about, again, not doing the partial lump sum of the pension right now, but what other money have you set aside in terms of other retirement savings?
Together, when she retires, she will have around $300,000, primarily in traditional. It's a 403B now, but we'll roll that into a traditional. And I'd say 10% of that is Roth.
Okay. And what about you?
Right now, about $250,000 in Roth and traditional, and that's 150 of that is Roth.
Okay. Any money in just plain old brokerage accounts?
310 in brokerages, and then 115 in inherited IRA and Roth. And we've got 7.5 years on that clock.
Okay, got it. You own your home?
Yes.
How much is it worth? About
$350 at this time.
Do you owe any money on it?
Yes, we've got a 15-year mortgage at 2 7/8. We owe $72,000 on it.
Any other real estate?
No.
The adult kid.
Yep.
When you said about $10,000 a month, is that with helping the adult kid?
Yes. I'm hoping that in the next year we will be stabilized at around $8,500 a month.
But let's say it's 10.
That's
anyway.
fine. Yeah.
Why not, right?
Because the higher, the more we can travel.
Exactly right. So what about health care? Will you receive that because she is an educator? Will you have health care until you reach your Medicare years?
I am covered completely by my retirement out of Kentucky. She has to pay for it out of her pension. So we just figured that up. It's about $350 a month
Oh, that's cheap though.
until Medicare.
Okay, so I'm like working through the numbers. So when you said the 6138 a month for your wife, is that the amount that would be reduced if you did this partial lump sum?
No, that's before the plop, and the plop has a range to make things
Tell me.
more confusing. The minimum, if we did the minimum plop, it would drop her down to $58.70 a month.
Okay.
That's a $41,000 plop. The maximum she could do is a $235,000 plop. This drops the monthly down to $4,600.
Okay. How do you feel about having this I mean, it's just weird because the actual two pension amounts kind of cover your needs as you outlined them.
Yep.
And so the only difference is, I mean, I'm sure that someone can interpret the math better than I on the fly, but the big difference is that you would take a haircut to this amount, you'd get some money out, just some lump sum that you would add to your pile of other money, the 300 in her deferred comp, the 250 that you have, you would have instead of, 3, 6, 7, 8, instead of having like 950,000, maybe you'd have $1 million. But under the way that you just outlined it to begin with, it sounds like all your needs are met, basically.
Yes, agreed.
We'll get back to Matt in just a minute. It's Jill on Money.
If you've missed any part of the show or want to check out a past show, go to JillOnMoney.com for more great personal finance content.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get back to Matt from Ohio.
The concern that she has, and this is with a fair number of retirees out of the Ohio system, is that their system is not sustainable. At some point, they're not going to be able to cover this. I personally don't worry about that. It's too big of a question for me to address. It's a legitimate concern, and I understand where she's coming from. So she preferred to take a larger amount of a plop. She's definitely going to take something.
Okay.
There's no question about that. How much is a real question. And at the extreme end, it could potentially, if we take the biggest plop, it drops our monthly income down to around or just under the 15% federal tax rate. So we'd go from 22 to 15.
Yeah, but you'd have more money that you have invested that would create income anyway. And you need to create some income, right? You would need to do that. I mean, look, I think it would be highly unlikely that she would retire and then they'd say, just kidding. You don't get your $6,100 a month. We're going to make it $4,100. That's not usually how these pension plans work. They pay out the existing benefits and the young people get penalized. That's usually. But let's just pretend she wants this.
Yep.
She wants some money. So if you said the maximum would be that she gets $235,000 up front, right? And then the mortgage, the pension amount drops to $4,600, right? That's where we end up.
Correct.
Okay. So now we have her 46, your 36. And now we have a bunch of money that's coming in, your $7,000, $7,200 a month, right? You have the money that is in the inherited IRA that you will be pulling out over time because you have 7 years to get that out. So maybe you would use that also, right? Because a little bit at a time. And that gets you close to, for at least for the next few years, gets you the money you need to fund your cash flow. Then after that, what's the next thing that we would have to do is we'd have to bridge you to Social Security. And then we would say, well, let's pull some money out of your traditional retirement accounts, both of you, or the deferred comp and whatever traditional accounts you have. Again, pulling that out slowly but surely over those years until you claim Social Security. And I think all the numbers work. I think that what you're saying to me is it doesn't matter what's mathematically better. Your wife wants to feel like she has some of her money out of that system. That is the risk she's scared of, right?
Yes.
So let's do it.
Okay.
Why are we messing around with it? Why shouldn't we make her happy? Isn't she entitled to be made happy? It's
Absolutely.
probably an overthinking of it. But again, you have other assets. You'll be able to do this. What's your Social Security benefit look like at your full retirement ages?
She will not be eligible because of Ohio's goofy system.
What's yours?
Mine is 3,200 at 7 years old.
Okay. I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
I really do. And also, if she really is all freaked out about this pension system, she can, if she'd like, just keep working.
True. Yeah, I think she probably is going to say, give it a year and say, I need to do something.
Okay.
And that's fair.
I think so.
She may not ever want to go back into doing what she's doing now, which I certainly understand.
I get that. But it sounds like you're really okay. I think that like we've overestimated your expenses just with the kid stuff, but which will go away. But let's presume it doesn't for the first few years. Fine. So what? So what if it doesn't go away, right? Then you know you can do it. Because we know that you guys have some assets to tap. You yourself are also still working. When you work and you're socking your money away, where are you putting that money? In a brokerage account?
My plan is I fund my wife's Roth out of my mother's inherited money.
Yeah, but you have to pay tax on it, of course.
Yes, I'm taking it out,
yes.
And I put that right into her Roth. It's as much as she'll work. If she doesn't work $8,000 a year, it'll be less, whatever. Same with me. Roth is first, and after that, it's going into a brokerage. And I'm a pretty active investor.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a pretty good handle on how to kind of sustainably keep it going.
Okay.
I look at $1 million down the line as around $4,000 a month if we need it.
That's perfect. Yeah. And also, I'm not sure you're going to need it, but I do think because you're going to have income that you've got so you pull the money out of the inherited IRA, that's fine. So you put her 7 in, but when you're ready to pull money out of accounts to fund this lower amount of pension that she is choosing, her lower plop, right?
Yep.
So meaning higher upfront but lower payment amount, that you're pulling from the pre-tax, the traditional accounts first. That's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
So you pull that out, and all that other money that you are earning, that's 60 to 90 grand, your 15,000 of, whatever, part-time, it'll start to go down over time. But that by the time you are getting towards, if you do that for 10 years, if you do that for 5 years, you're really going to be in good shape, and you're going to keep building up your brokerage account, and you're not spending that much money. And even if the kid takes 3 more years to launch, you're okay. You're okay. I mean, everyone listening, when you have these pension conversations, the question is a good one, which is, can the state, can the municipality, can the organization afford to actually pay out the promised benefits? If the answer is no, then what you're forced to do is say, well, okay, what would that do to me? So again, like I said, it usually does not impact the people who have already received benefits. I think the state of Rhode Island did something once that really they had a little city or municipality that was like, hey, firemen, we're cutting your pension. But that's a very rare instance. But if she's wigged out by it, why not grab that money? She'll get her $235,000. You'll add it to your brokerage account. Now you got $500,000 and you're still working and you're adding money to it. So I think the plan works. I really do.
Either way.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
So when it works for either way, then we do peace of mind comes first, okay?
Good answer. I appreciate it.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
that's spot on.
You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are trying to help you navigate whatever is in front of you, we're kind of like Waze for your money. There are a lot of different ways to get there. You know, when it says other routes, some take a little longer, some are a little shorter, some probably have some tolls, some don't. Whatever is in front of you, that is your path. It's no one else's. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Let us know what's going on, and we will try to help you figure out which are the routes that are available to you. While you're on the website, check out our service called Jill on Money Live. This is a subscription service where for $45 for the next 12 months, you will have access to quarterly live webinars, 4 of them, bonus audio and video content, and also the entire back catalog of everything that we have done on Jill on Money Live. Check it out. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and go to the section that says Jill on Money Live. Okay, before we conclude the hour, here is a question from Eric, who writes, after listening to the Booth folks on your podcast, I decided to look into the dimensional funds offerings. Okay, gang, let me just fill in the blank here. If you didn't hear this particular program, I have to tell you, this was one of the most fun interviews that I've done in a long time. It was with a legend of the investment management business, a guy named David Booth, who co-founded a company called Dimensional Fund Advisors. The fund's premise is really based in passive investing. So you have to go listen to the actual recording to hear more. But let me get back to Eric's question. He said he's been using Vanguard ETFs and managing himself and rebalancing. He writes, I decided to switch the equity portion of my plan to one exchange-traded fund. DFA seems to have it all covered. U.S., international, emerging. So I'm going 50% DFA and 50% Treasury 10-year ladder. Too simple? Am I lazy? I just want to keep my life simple. Eric, this sounds just perfect to me. And frankly, if more people took this approach, they'd probably keep themselves out of trouble. You're listening to Jill on Money, where we like to keep things simple. We'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make sense of all the things that are going on around in your life that touch your money. If you've got a question, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Now, while you're on the website, I'd like to point out that I've got a new blog post up that I think is really great for this time of year. I know it's Independence Day weekend. How about that we celebrate your financial independence by doing a little mid-year money makeover? I've got a blog post up there with 6 steps that will help you take control of your finances right now, 6 months into the year. I know that a lot of these steps seem like second nature to a lot of you, but for some, you might need a little prompt. So check it out at JillOnMoney.com. Click on the blog section. And of course, while you're there, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter, which comes out every Friday. Mark does such a great job with that. Right now, let's talk to Jen. She joins us from the Pacific Northwest. Hello, Jen. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you. How are you?
We're great. What's going on? How can we help you?
Yeah. So I am changing jobs. I'm in academia and I'm going, switching institutions.
Okay.
And I am always so jealous of the people who call you and talk about their pensions. I've never had that option. But at this new institution, they do. But I feel like I'm kind of a little too late to start it. And there's a pension option. There's like a 403B or 401k kind of thing. And I just don't know, like at my age, if it's worth it and how you kind of figure that out.
Okay. Well, this is, it's exciting. So first of all, congratulations on your new job. Have you already started or are you about to start it?
No, I'll start in like a few months.
Okay, great. Let's do some of the basics about what's going on in your life. And then we can think about which retirement option is most beneficial for you. So first of all, how old are you, Jen?
I'm 50 something, 51.
Okay, very good. Are you single, married, partnered?
Single.
Okay. Kids, no kids?
Kids.
How old?
College age. One's in college, one's ending high school.
Oh, and how are we paying for that?
You know, we have one of the plans. We definitely have money saved. At this point, I haven't really had to do much, but I'm just going to have to start, contributing cash. So it's me and that.
Do you know how much cash you'll have to contribute to help get them through?
I'm assuming about $10,000 a year.
Okay, let's keep going then. Now, new job. How much will you be earning?
So it's kind of funky, it's academic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a $160 for the 9-month, but then you can have summer salary. So, which I have covered at least the first few years. So that's $212.
Okay. So $212,000. And is this more or less than you were making in your old job?
More.
Okay, great. What have you saved so far before this job starts? So you have an old retirement plan from the previous job?
Yep.
And what's in there?
2 403Bs. One's like the voluntary and one's the retirement plan. Total with like the 403Bs, and I have a small SEP IRA and a really tiny little IRA. It's about 1.3.
Wow. That's great.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay. So and none of that money's been taxed yet. This is all traditional money, right?
If that's what it means to put it in a 403B.
Yeah. Before you got like the tax benefit, pre-tax.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Any other money that you have saved up in non-retirement assets, like a brokerage account or a Roth account, anything out there?
Well, just before we go there, I have some beneficiary IRAs in an after-tax account that are about $200,000.
$200,000 and what's the clock that is, when do you have to get those out by?
That's a good question. I think there's one that is on the clock for another 4 years and another one that's maybe 8.
Okay. What else do you have saved up?
I have too much cash.
Well, I'll determine whether it's too much. It's one of my favorite asset classes, cash. So what do you have?
Good. I have basically 1.1 million.
That sounds like a lot of cash to me. As you say, when I said that, it's my favorite. It's not that much of a favorite. 1.1 million in cash. Is there something it's earmarked for?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to get a new place when I move institutions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I kind of, I didn't intend for this to happen, but I'm kind of collecting houses. Now, within that cash, I do have 250 in CDs, but they'll be maturing pretty soon.
Okay. 1.1 million cash, CDs, high yield savings, regular savings, all together 1.1 million.
That's right.
Got it. Anything else besides, and we'll get to the real estate in a second, but anything else that is investment, savings, anything else that we're not accounting for?
No.
Okay. Okay. Current home where you live right now is worth how much?
Probably 800.
And do you want to keep this house or are you going to sell it?
I'm going to keep it.
Is there a mortgage outstanding on it?
No.
Okay. Any other real estate?
Yeah. I have 2 rentals.
Okay. How much are they worth?
Total 800 probably.
And do they have mortgages attached to them?
Between the 2 of them, about 300,000 at 3%.
And you're managing these right now? Are you going to continue, or is someone else managing those for you?
No, I manage them.
Is it a pain in the neck? You have a new job. Don't you have to pay attention to that new job?
It really has been so easy. And basically, I always have enough for big things that come up, like a new sewer or whatever.
Well, of course, you got $1 million in cash. Of course, you have new things.
Well, that even I keep the rental income separate, and it's all in its own little thing. So you know what I mean? Yeah,
it's siloed. How much money do you take out of these 2 properties after you pay all your expenses? To you, if I had to really cash flow it, how much money do you think comes out either monthly or on an annual basis?
Well, that's the thing. I just put it in that separate account and then just use that for any expenses related to that.
So you're not living on this money?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, it just
but it pays for itself. And then there's an account that has how much in it?
25,000, but I counted that in the cash.
Okay. So there's no reason for you to sell these. You're like, they're easy. They pay for themselves. Anything else? And is there anything, there's no reason that you need to sell them at this point, right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you say you need a new place to live, what does that mean? What do we need to buy something? Or are you thinking about renting because it's a new job. So is this an area that you want to be in? Is it a rental place? Do you want to be able to own there? Like, what do you think?
Yeah. And that's a good question. I guess I had thought that I would just go ahead and buy, because I will be down there at least 9 months out of the year.
Okay.
And so it just kind of seems like that would make sense. Plus I have all this cash, like I could.
Yeah. Burning a hole in your pocket, babe.
Right.
We'll get back to Jen in just a minute. If you have something going on in your life, maybe you're making a change or you're contemplating a change, buying a house, selling a house, get in touch with us. JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are here trying to help guide you through your financial journey. If you've got a question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Let's get back to Jen from the Pacific Northwest. Maybe rent for 1 year, but I just put that out there because I like to try before I buy. But if you had to buy a place, how much of the cash would we need to use to buy something?
I don't love a big payment, so I would think that I could probably use, between $300 and $500.
That's it?
Yeah.
Don't you live in like the Pacific Northwest, which is like expensive? You only need $500,000?
I think I could get like a really nice place that ticked all the boxes for probably $700 or $800.
Yeah. See how that happened, Mark? She's like, 500. Now I'm at $700 or $800. Okay.
Well, she's talking about what she's going to use as a down payment.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
But I could, if you think that's a better idea,
but $800,000 would buy you something you'd really love?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have an idea about just how much it costs you to live your life, Jen?
You mean like how much I spend monthly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's about $4,000 to $5,000.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just loving all of this.
I'm outside a lot.
All right. I'm just going to say 5 because it's great. And you have a lot of money. Obviously, because you have a lot of money that's built up. I don't know if that's part of that happened because you dissolved a relationship and you got some money out of that or not. But you have a lot of money and you've got a lot of real estate, which is great. So the new job, which is now we're finally getting to your question. You're like, geez, Jill, thanks a lot. I've been talking to you for however long it's been. And now you're finally getting to me. Okay. So the new job is you have to choose either a pension or a traditional defined contribution plan. So you get a choice coming in. Am I right about that?
Yeah. So they have like a 403B or 401k that they'll match up to 7%.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a state pension plan that is, from what I can gather, it's like a mandatory 12% contribution.
Okay.
So the tricky part, is I get to stay if I get tenure. And
right.
I think that will be
Well, don't piss anyone off and you'll get your tenure.
It's more about
don't make waves.
Productivity and all of that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I don't feel like that is super risky, but it is there, right?
Yeah.
And who knows what will happen.
Also, who knows if you'll like the job? What if you hate it?
Exactly. Yeah.
I hate to give up a pension opportunity. How much longer do you think you're going to work?
I've always kind of planned to be able to retire early. Just
like how early?
Those choices. I don't know, 60, 62, 2, whatever.
I'm going to say 60. Let's look at that.
I love what I do.
You just want the opportunity to.
Yeah. And I also love living life. So,
yeah,
it is kind of hard to box academic life in, research and interest and all of that is into, a manageable work week.
Yep. What's interesting is this, I don't think this is a math problem, even though you lay it out as a math problem, right? I got to put 12% in the pension. The 401k is a 7% match. All these things are, yes, I understand the math. I understand how pensions pay out, and it's great. However, you are coming to this, as you said, at age 51, where number one, hopefully this requires you to, the vesting of a pension is what, 10 years? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think 10 years is the minimum.
Okay. So this kind of puts you in one category. This may be one of the few times, Mark, and I don't know how you feel about this, where I'm going to say, I'm not sure I want the pension because I want to like maximize flexibility for Jen. She's 51. She's making 160 for the 9 months. Let's say you made 160 grand a year for the next 9 or 10 years. Fine. You're going to put your money into your retirement account. They're going to help you. They're going to match. You already have a lot of money and you have the ability to buy a home or rent a home. You got plenty of money that you've saved and you don't spend a lot of money. So I'm not sure. The reason why I love pensions is having that consistent flow of income. They become a little bit harder to accumulate when you don't start them early in your career, but you could do it. But you have all this money already. And so I'm not sure you need it. Mark, what do you think about the pension? You want to pass up the pension for Jen?
I think I agree with you just because, like you said, this isn't really a financial decision. She's going to be fine. She spends very little. She has a lot of money saved. She's soon going to own 4 pieces of real estate. Three of those can be unloaded when retirement rolls around. So, and then plus, she may want to call it quits sooner.
Exactly. What if you have a nasty boss? Like, oh, I love my institution. Then you get a new boss. Nasty boss. Goodbye. And then you're not like feeling like, oh, I've left my pension on the table. You have all of this money, which gives you this incredible opportunity to do whatever makes you feel good. And I don't want you to necessarily box yourself in choosing the pension simply because, oh, that's a nice stream of income. You will have a stream of income if you'd like. Do you have a sense of where you would like to ultimately end up, like where your primary residence is now? Do you think that's actually much the more likely place where you will live your life, your retirement years out?
Yes, water, mountains, snow, all of that.
Okay. So I think, first of all, before you go in and buy, I think you should also look at the rental market just to see what's out there. Maybe it would be nice for you to not feel like you've made this huge investment and you want to live there a little bit and get a sense of the place. Do you have a good sense of the area?
No.
So I think that, so the only thing then, I wouldn't be so fast to put that of your $1.1 million. I would not be so quick to spend 800 grand. I would be much happier if you're going to have to live there for 9 months, right?
Yeah.
I would get a 1-year rental and see what you like there. Maybe you're renting one place. You're like, ew, I hate this neighborhood. I want to be in a different neighborhood, but you only know by being there. Mm-hmm. I don't think you should make the plunge unless something fell in your lap. Like a colleague said, oh, Jen, welcome here. I'm leaving. I'm going to Australia. Could you want to take my house? And, whatever, something fell in your lap. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a much better idea to explore the area and decide where you'd want to be and whether or not maybe you don't even have to deploy all that cash. Maybe you're like, you know what? I can rent and get a great place and it's really easy. And then you give us a holler back and you say, I'm never going to buy here. And then we talk about where you should invest your $1 million of cash. Yeah. And then you're more flexible. And then you see, and maybe you're like, oh my God, I've fallen in love with this part of this state and I want to actually own something here. Then give us a holler back. Or conversely, you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. I can rent for $3,500 a month. I'm never going to be an owner here. Check it out. See what you like.
So what about the cash? Like, I feel like people are talking about brokerage accounts or?
Yeah. I mean, so for me, I don't know, because we don't know whether or not you're going to need $800,000 from this account, then I think it's fine if you've got CDs and high yield savings and you've got a bunch of money that's tied up in that stuff. I would keep that. And then for one more year, you make a decision. After a year, you'll make a different decision. In a year, if you don't need this money, then I think we should absolutely create a brokerage account. Absolutely. Now, last thing,
Yes.
you got a whole pile of money, babe. You have a will,
I
you have the
do.
power of attorney, you got everything.
And she's single.
And she's single, everyone, Pacific Northwest. Jen, can we find you a man, a woman, non-binary person with all that money? Is there anything you'd like? Should we set up a dating service for you?
I don't know.
Okay, see, she got excited about that in a second. So you have your documents done. You've got this 2 kids, and so, but that's good. So you've got it all done.
I have I need a power of attorney. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have that.
Yes. I should.
Okay. I think we're done with you. I think you have an incredible amount of opportunity. This may be one of the few cases where we are saying you don't need to choose the pension, have some more flexibility, and go and live your most fabulous life, Jen. I think you're in great shape. It's the Jill on Money Show.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Yep, we are here trying to help you figure out what is going on in your financial life, maybe how to make it a little bit easier and less anxiety provoking. Here is an email from Charles, who wants to know, what do you consider a safe withdrawal rate for a couple retiring at age 65? I get the impression you're more conservative than the standard 4%. I have kids, but my main concern is maximizing my spending over my retirement. You know, Charles, you're right. I'm a little bit more conservative. That said, the 4% has worked very well if you back test it. It really has. One way that you can maximize your spending, though, is you can use 4%. You might be able to do that in a good year. And you say, I'm going to take 4% in a good year. But maybe in a down year, you take a little bit less. Maybe you take 3.5%. So I don't know how much money you have, because maybe the 4% is even silly because you have so much money, it just doesn't matter. But I'm a wimp. I'm totally a wimp. So if I choose 3.5% as a safe withdrawal rate and I end up with a little bit more money, fine. I think it's also good to know yourself. I love that you said, you have kids, but that's not like your main concern. I think that's an important note, gang, because if you have children and all you want to do is leave them as much money as possible, I'm not a parent. I would never choose that. I tell my mother to spend her money every day. I think that if that's your main concern, then you can use more conservative numbers. And, if they end up with more money, then that's the good outcome for you. But I like when people live nice and big and, within their means, of course. Jan says, you ready for this, Mark? I love your podcast and listen every day. This is my people. This is my tribe, you guys. I love you. Jan's 71. She's retired. She has a state pension of $79,000, which more than covers her expenses. Oh, Mark, just a little side note. I ran into a woman who I will like to call my very favorite farmer in the world. She's literally a farmer, okay? She says when she listens to the podcast, because she lives in a high cost of living area, she cannot imagine people who are able to live fine on $7,000 or $8,000 a month. She's like, where do they live? I can't. I said, I know, it's just a different area. It's okay. But that's why when you hear about these numbers, gang, we don't judge them. We just listen to what you're saying. If your numbers are $15,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 a month, that's your number, and we figure out if you can cover it. In the case of Jan, her state pension, $79,000, more than covers her expenses. She has 2 self-sufficient, financially independent children. Amen to that. Oh, yeah, amen to that is right, Jan. Jan owns 2 multi-family properties, and they're valued at $2.2 million. One is paid for, and the other one, which is worth $1.5 million, has a $233,000 mortgage. And she lives in the $1.5 million house. Okay. She says, I've got a 457 plan. It's traditional. $675,000. The money will be left to my children along with the properties and other accounts. I'm in the 24% federal tax bracket, and it just dawned on me, how much taxes my children will have to pay, and that they're going to need to empty those accounts within 10 years of inheriting them. That's true. So, is converting to a Roth a good idea, and at what intervals and amounts given my age and need for required minimum distributions in 2 years? I'm sorry I'm late to the party. The alternative is to take the RMDs and put it in high-yield accounts minus taxes and have those accounts transfer on death accounts. Okay, first of all, no problems here and nothing to worry about. Everything's great, right? One thing that you could do is, if you're, I don't know how far up the 24% bracket you are. So you could convert the money. I just don't know if you have other accounts that could pay the tax that's due. So you didn't mention that you had some big slug of money in cash or some money in a brokerage account, a savings account or CDs. Let's say for argument that you don't have the cash to pay the tax. In that case, you can just take money out of that account. And you're absolutely right. You don't have to take RMDs. You can take even more than the RMDs and try to stay inside that 24% bracket, which is, if you're single, this year up to $197,300. If your kids are in a higher tax bracket than you, maybe your kids are, so financially independent and self-sufficient that they are like making a ton of money. Maybe you even go up into the 32% bracket. Maybe you pull more money out than your RMDs. But it won't matter either way. It's fine. I don't think you should convert unless we have a lot of money sitting aside, and you didn't mention that. So I'm going to say you can just pull the money out. They'll inherit the money, and they'll pay the tax on it. It's not such a big deal, okay? If you've got a follow-up question, let us know, okay? Thank you, Jan. David writes, I'm currently in a federal position in Washington, D.C. And so he says, I don't have a degree, but I had 6 years experience in the military prior to this current job. I've been in the role since 23. The pay is great, but with all the drama that has come with the new regime, presidential regime, I believe that it is smart to start weighing my options. How would you recommend I go about this, since I currently do not have a degree and I feel like I'm making more than most people with no degree? How can I compare jobs with no pension to my current? My only work experience is in the military and then my current role, so I just don't have any real idea where I stand. Thank you in advance. Well, David, a couple of things. One thing to consider is that if you are really freaked out by the drama, then you look around. And one way to look at the difference between the pay and the pension is to try to compare apples to apples. So go out there, look at a job that you think you could get, and then write us back, and then we can give you an idea about this. I mean, obviously the pay is easy. Usually you say the pay is great in your current job, and that you wouldn't make as much money in the private sector. That's very different for most federal employees. A lot of federal employees, what they find is that they go into the private sector, they'll make more money in salary, but they'll lose that pension benefit. But considering you were in the military, I presume you already have a pension, and maybe we could find you a different job where you don't have to worry so much about the pay differential or the pension. So get back in touch with us, David. I'd really like to talk this through. I feel so bad for these people. It's like I like my job and now I'm freaked out by this whole thing. You're listening to Jill on Money. We'll be right back.
If you've missed any part of the show or want to check out a past show, go to JillOnMoney.com for more great personal finance content.
Welcome back. It's Jill on Money. We are here fielding your various financial questions. If you've got one, just go to jillonmoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Next up, this is an email from Karen. What are your thoughts on reverse mortgages? Worth doing for a retired couple? Karen, the deal with reverse mortgages, which is where you're tapping your equity and creating a stream of income from the equity in your house, has to do with how old you are and also what are your options. So they can be very good products, but they have to be looked at by someone other than you. They are very complicated products. And so if you are thinking about a reverse mortgage, I would absolutely engage the services of a fiduciary planner to review those numbers, make sure that that's the right thing for you. Okay. This is from Maureen. She's a federal employee. She was forced into early retirement at age 58. She says, I love your show. I'm a regular listener. I have 21 years in the federal government. 3 weeks ago, I took the early retirement option with a $25,000 payout. Now, remember, gang, we've heard a lot about these people. These are people who are staying on the payroll probably for a little bit and get this extra $25,000. That is a pretty good incentive. She did it because she was scared of getting let go anyway. So she just said she secured her pension and health care for her family. And she says, I want to continue working, but realize the market is tight. Ageism is real. No kidding. You got that right, Maureen. She said, I just updated my LinkedIn page. I'm working on my resume. I've got 2 networking meetings scheduled this week. That's great. But here's the real question. I'm 58 years old. Do I have enough to live on without continuing to work? She's married. She's got a kid in college. They have a 529 plan that's going to cover the university costs. Great. So her pension and health care after tax is $20,000 a year, plus another $11,500, which is that supplement. It's based on if you make less than $23,000. And then she's got some annual leave payout. She's got about $1.3 million in her thrift savings plan, plus another $200,000 in a traditional IRA. So $1.5 million in traditional retirement assets, $230,000 in a Roth, got another $780,000 in a rollover IRA, an inherited IRA for a little bit, a brokerage and investment account. They have a home that's worth $1.2 million, and there's only $100,000 left. There's a rental unit tenant that pays about 3/4 of their mortgage each month. Incredible. Okay. Husband makes $150,000 a year and doesn't plan to retire, and he loves working. I love that kind of spouse. I wish my spouse were like that. Not exactly. I guess he has another account that's floating around $700,000, no Social Security. Expenses are $6,000 a month. It's funny. There's a second couple. My monthly expenses are $6,000. My husband's are $10,000. They don't have a shared bank account. You think it's a second marriage, Mark?
I don't know.
That's fascinating. This is the second question today where it's like separate. Okay. She's got longevity. Parents are still alive in their 90s. Mark, does she need to find a new job?
Does she, based on her expenses? No, I think she's okay.
I think she's okay also. And you know, a lot of people who have asked this question, which is that you get this FERS supplement when you get the buyout from the government, but you have to make less than $23,000. You know, if you got a job and that was a good job and you wanted a job, great. But if you still have $32,000 a year that's coming in for a bit. So anyway, it's pretty good. And you got plenty of money. And so I think you're fine. I think you should try to find a job because it sounds like you'd probably like to work, but that has nothing to do with whether you need to work. What strategies do you recommend to pay myself monthly? Should I consider a CD ladder or a high yield savings account? Do you recommend a Roth conversion when our tax bracket goes down to 22%? Well, I mean, it looks to me like, I don't know, again, how you and your husband want to divvy this up, but like between the two of you, you can cover your expenses. If you find it easier to have money that is just almost like every year you have like the money you need, you can set it up as a CD ladder. You can do that for a few years, but then you should start tapping the traditional IRA and the thrift savings plan just to try to whittle it down. I don't think you should necessarily, I'm not sure you're going to need to convert into a Roth, but I do think it would be nice for you to start pulling money out of the traditional accounts as you guys see a lower tax bracket. But I wouldn't necessarily do a whole conversion. Would you, Mark?
I don't think so. And I'm not exactly clear as to how they manage their assets, because if you're combining everything, yeah, they have money in his brokerage account to pay for it. But if you're just looking at hers, she doesn't have a lot of money to pay for it on her own. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we need a little bit more information, but I think you're fine. And I'm intrigued to hear more about how you guys manage your money. It's fascinating to us, but let us know. And you're good. Listen, for folks who are thinking about managing cash flow, there's no like rule. This is about what works for you. So one of the difficult things is when you end up retiring, you lost that consistency where money hits your account every 2 weeks, right? And if that really wigs you out, what you can do is you can set up a system so that money can flow into your bank account. And then maybe you can just like play a game with yourself. Like, hey, every month or every quarter, money comes out of one account, goes into another. Oh, I'm paying myself. It's up to you. But normally what, I would always say to folks is, how we say if you invest all of your money at once in the beginning of the year, you're probably going to be better off, like mathematically. I sort of feel that way for cash flow. Like if you take the money you need for the next year in December, it probably works very well for you. But if you can't manage that and it's just too much for you to get it in one fell swoop, no biggie, not a big deal at all. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are here trying to help take the mystery out of your financial life. And so often, many of you will contact us on behalf of a friend or a relative. And that is the case with the last question of the day from Rita, who writes, my son is trying to build credit for himself. What is the best route for him to go? Rita, this is a great question. And I want to just remind everybody that credit reports and credit scores, they're basically used to figure out whether or not you are good for your financial commitments. They help lenders measure your ability to repay a loan. The most important part of the process of creating a credit record is to pay your bills on time. 35% of a credit score is actually based on that. And then there are other factors like the amount of money owed overall, the length of your credit history, the mix of that credit, and the amount of new credit that you apply for. Now, interestingly enough, a student loan is actually a very good way to help you build credit because installment loans, like student loans, really can prove that you're paying your bills on time. And of course, if you have automatic payments, that's really the best way to make sure you never miss a bill. Now, if you've got a bad credit score, one thing to consider is thinking about how you can pay off your debt. The most important thing to the Fair Isaac Corporation, that's the FICO score, when you have debt, they say paying off debt rather than moving it around, it's the quickest way to improve your score. Just be careful, especially as you're beginning your financial life, to apply for new credit judiciously. And a good reminder here is that you shouldn't close credit card accounts, just don't use the cards. And one last reminder, and that is that if you use debit cards and not credit cards, debit cards don't contribute to building a credit record or help your credit score. So I hope that helps. Okay, that is it. That is the program. As a reminder, everything we do lives on our website, JillOnMoney.com. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and king of all things web. And we ask that you try to lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.